Hey guys, and welcome back. I don't feel great today, but I wanted to sit down and film. I'm sleep deprived, I have a migraine coming on, and just don't feel the greatest, but I wanted to sit down and play with makeup and film. So here I am. Ignore the hair is disgusting, so it's just pulled back. Yeah, but I wanted to talk about, this is something I've wanted to film for a while. I want to talk about Natasha Denona shadows. Before I get into this, I want to know your opinions. Do you love Natasha Denona shadows? Do you think they're worth the hype? Have you even tried it? Do you even care? Do you want to try it? I want to know. I've been trying so hard to fall in love with Natasha Denona shadows because they are so hyped up, because people say that they are the best things ever, and so I keep buying them. Why do I don't know why I do this to myself. But I bought the Lila palette. I bought this during a Sephora sale, did not pay full price for this. It was on sale. Was very, very disappointed in it. Then I bought the Natasha Denona Love palette. I bought this as soon as it came out, and still not a palette I reach for. There's some shadows that don't perform the way I would like them to. There are some gorgeous ones. The silver shade in here is beautiful. There's some pretty shades in here, and I will reach for this every once in a while, but I have to make myself. It's not something I just love. Also ignore the nails. Okay, I saw the Glam palette, and I love me some cool tones. I am not a warm tone wearer in general, and I love cool tone neutrals, and I love lots of light shimmer shades. So the Glam palette was like, I figured those would be my everyday go-to shades. That's how I would fall in love with the Natasha Denona shadows, would be with my everyday go-to shades. So I recently picked up the Glam palette. Now, this has been out for a while. You've probably seen this all over. This is nothing new, but I wanted to get into this palette with you, and I'm gonna compare it to some drugstore shadows that I have. And we're gonna discover if this is worth it and if I just need to stop buying Natasha Denona. I'm gonna do one eye with Natasha Denona and one eye with some drugstore eyeshadows that are a fraction of the price. So yeah, I have done some swatches of these, and I have picked out shades that look very similar to me, and so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you swatches of this alone as well. Before we get into the things that I like in my shadows, I like my shimmers to have a punch and a pop. I like for you to be able to see them. I like my mattes to be blendable, pigmented, but not too much where you can't blend it out. And I like them to stay and not blend away. That's what I like in shadows. Go in just a little bit. Should I show you or wait till the end to show you what shadows I'm using? I may wait till the end. We're gonna do that. Okay, we're gonna keep a little mystery here. I'm gonna start with the top right shade here. These don't have shade names, it just says transition. So I'm gonna put the Natasha Denona on this side. And we're gonna put transition here. And I'm gonna take the shade right next to it in crease. My child got really quiet in the other room. I hope he's not getting into trouble. So I'm gonna use the same brush, but I'm just going to clean it off in between the Natasha Denona and the drugstore, just so we are using the same application method. It looks like the tone is slightly different in this shade. This one's a little bit warmer than the Natasha Denona, but it is blending out beautifully. Just a touch of that. All right, so far Natasha Denona and drugstore. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this shade right here, just on the outer corner. All right, and then I'm gonna go in with my Drugstore. And then I'm gonna take this shimmer shade right here. Beautiful, cool toned, taupe-ish color. And I'm gonna put this all over the lid. All over there. And then the other side. All right, now I'm going to deepen up the outer corner even further. So I'm gonna go in with the deepest shade in the Glam palette and go right here. I'm gonna go in with the Drugstore side. Okay, so here's what it's looking like so far. I'm gonna do a little bit more blending. The Natasha Denona side, I don't know if you can see on camera. Yes, you can. I can see it on the, there's a little bit of patchiness right there. And then here is the Drugstore side. I'm gonna keep working on this and see if I can get this blended better. All right, so I think that is still not the greatest. If I were to look at these two and just guess which one would be high-end and which one would be Drugstore, I would say this is high-end. And what am I using? A $3 e.l.f. palette versus Natasha Denona Glam for $65. I found that the e.l.f. shimmers are fantastic. They are insanely pigmented and shimmery, metallic. It definitely holds its own with the Natasha Denona and is even better in my experience. I have gotten a few looks from this that I do enjoy, but the shimmers for me just don't have the punch I would expect for $65. And maybe they're not supposed to. Maybe that's just the formula. They're supposed to be a little bit more subtle. If I want subtle, I don't want to spend $65. No, and for me, the patchiness of that one, the lash line shade, the dark shade, if I just use some of the lighter browns, I'm okay. That lash line shade, I don't know, it's just not, it's not working on me. I've had times where it blends and I can get it to look fine, but I've definitely had a few looks where I cannot get that matte to blend. And for $65, I want it to blend itself. You know what I mean. I want it to blend smoothly, quickly, and be better than a $3 eyeshadow palette. Crazy, the shimmers are almost the same color, like they look so similar. I want to see what it looks like if I wet the shimmers. So I'm gonna take, this is the e.l.f. Truffles palette, by the way. I'm gonna take the shimmer shade and I'm gonna wet it with some setting spray. See if this makes it any more intense. It's so beautiful. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna use the other side of that brush with the Natasha Denona one. Wet it. See how this one can get. Man, those look so similar. Those are so incredibly similar, and for the price difference, I just find that insane. But I still prefer this side to this side. Okay, I'm gonna finish up a little bit of liner, mascara, and then I'll come back and we'll do some swatches and wrap this up. All right, so I threw some mascara on. Today I'm using the Essence Lash Princess, the new one, Curl and Volume Mascara. I'm currently working on a video for this and some other Essence mascaras, so stay tuned for that. But I actually ended up using a mixture of these two e.l.f. palettes because I used a lighter transition shade to go with what I was using with the Natasha Denona, but I can totally use this one by itself and get pretty much the same look. This is the Truffles Bite Size and the Cream and Sugar Bite Size. So $6 two versus $65 for this one. Okay, I'm gonna do some swatches real quick. I actually wanna swatch these first for you. This is the first Bite Size palette that I bought because of this shade. I love the cool tone taupey shades. So here is the Truffles palette, very messily. And then we have the Cream and Sugar. I really enjoy the shimmer shade in this one as well. Well, this one. I don't use this one as much because it's a little more warm, but we'll just go right here. There's the Cream and Sugar palette. Absolutely stunning. I love the shimmers in these. Look at that Cream and Sugar one. Okay, so I'm gonna go on this arm. I'm gonna swatch with my left hand, so it's gonna be kind of messy, but I'm gonna swatch the ones I used first. That transition shade doesn't show up in a swatch, so I'm not gonna swatch that one. But I'll swatch these four. We'll just do the same thing. Looking at the swatches, the Natasha Denona mattes look a little bit more creamy. Man, look at those. Look at those. They're so incredibly similar. It's crazy. The Natasha Denona is swatching better. The shimmer is swatching better. Let me maybe I need to get more from the e.l.f. Yeah, the swatch of the Natasha Denona is actually more metallic than the e.l.f. swatch. So that shows you can't always go by the swatches because on the eyes, it's definitely not more metallic than the e.l.f. one. So that's insane. Okay, so those are the shades that I used. I'm gonna swatch a few more of the other shimmers just to show you kind of how the shimmers look. That was a beautifully horrible swatch, but there are some of the other shimmers. They're just a little bit more soft than, like, they're not as intense as I would like. This one looks really pretty swatched, but when they're on the eyes, they don't translate as intensely. I want to show you. Okay, so I'm going to take the Cream and Sugar one, and I'm going to put this on my inner corner. Crazy, in the pan, the Cream and Sugar doesn't look all that special. I'm sorry, Lincoln's running around. If you hear that, I'm very sorry. So there's the Cream and Sugar, the little inner corner highlight. And I'm gonna take this one. This one looks very similar in pan, and I'm gonna put it on the inner corner over here. And then I'm gonna try this one now, because the other one was a little darker. That's a little bit better. That's better. No, guys, I was expecting this to wow me, to blow my mind, to make me want to reach for it. Like, I really want to reach for these e.l.f. ones. And even the Wet n Wild color icons, these are gorgeous. I really love the pink shades, the pink one. But this one, here are the Wet n Wild shimmers right here. Just put them right here. So these Wet n Wild shimmers, again, just absolutely stunning on the eyes. I don't know, I'm a little let down, I'm a little disappointed. So overall, I'm just a little bit disappointed in the Natasha Denona Glam palette. I will use it, I will continue using it. Another palette that actually just popped into my head that I love more, so much more, is the Sultry palette, and I don't think you can still get this one. They really should make this one a permanent one. You see how much I have loved this one? This one is definitely way better than the Natasha Denona one in my opinion. I could get a very similar look. I mean, do you see this? I could get it. I barely touched the pan. Very similar look to what I've got on right here. So if you have the sultry palette, you do not need this one. All right guys, it is a different day, clearly. I ended up having the lipstick all over my teeth in the footage of the last one. So I'm gonna redo just the end bit. I wanna mention I am wearing the sultry palette today because I wanted to see how similar it could look. So this is the Anastasia sultry palette. Wanted to note that I asked my husband which one he thought was the more expensive one, and he actually guessed it right. And he had a couple of comments. He said that the cheaper one, the e.l.f., had a little bit more glitter fallout under the eyes. And he said it looked, flaky. I think it wasn't, the shimmer wasn't as smooth as the Natasha Denona. He said it almost looked flaky to him. So that is something to note, but I really think that they both wore beautifully, and I still prefer the e.l.f. I think it went on better. I had to struggle with the Natasha Denona, so I just don't reach for the palette. So that's telling you something. Like, if I'm not reaching for it, it's not something that I can put on quickly and easily and look beautiful. I just don't know that it's worth it for me. I keep telling myself I'm not going to buy anymore because I have this issue, and every single palette I've gotten, I'm underwhelmed. So as of now, I'm not going to buy anymore, but I know that could possibly change. So let me know in the comments below if you have Natasha Denona palettes, if you love them, if you're just meh about them, kind of like I am. That's gonna wrap it up for this video. If you did enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already and want to see future videos, hit that subscribe button down below. And I will see you guys next time. Stay gorgeous. Bye. I just filmed 2 videos with my microphone off. Bye bye. Darn it. I just dug my fingernail in there. When they're on